Okay, so I went and got the where is it? It is a 4 pound container of Timbermate. Pop. So that comes off, and then I get into my Timbermate. Um, I'm going with the big one because I need something where I can just slap on filler when I'm painting. So I've got this guy that I've sanded down. I think maybe just I was gonna put some Timbermate on this, but I think sanding it to smooth it out enough that it'll blend. But like repairs here where um, you know you're not gonna see it. Anyways, and then I'm kind of smearing it on and grinding it off. It doesn't have to color match because I'm going to prime it and paint it. But I had a lot of these chips down here and on the other side. And so it was just time to step up and go with the 4 pound container. So anyways, looking forward to using this on a lot more of the body fillers where Bondo might be overkill. So, all right, let's start this party. Okay, so the Australian mud showed up a little dry. There's still spots where you can see the cracking here. Not very pliable, which is fine. It's water soluble, so this is the it's the first 4 pound container I picked up. I don't know how quickly I'll get through it, but what I'm doing is just adding some distilled water to it. And so I'm gonna kind of chop in the water and work it a little bit because I need to apply it before I run some errands. And it'd be nice if it was dry on the piece before I got back. But yeah, if you chop in some drainage holes here, you can still see how resistant it is. Not very pliable. But all this will soften up with water. So I'll just keep adding little bits of water here. And if you store Timbermate, you can cover this whole surface with water once it's smoothed out and flat, and that acts like a seal to keep oxygen from getting in there. And then it's a little bit more ready to go. If it's really wet on top, you can kind of scrape the wet stuff out of the way, and then you can get to firmer putty underneath. But right now, I just need it to be more like creamy peanut butter so I can work it onto all the different contours and have it stick effectively onto the piece of furniture I'm working on. So anyways, probably my best video ever. But that's why I do the basics. Understand your Timbermate. You could have put this on here or put it on a piece of furniture. It could dry in a year from now. If it's still exposed and you get it wet, it will come off and it'll turn into this. So there are pluses and minuses. That's why you have to seal it after you apply it. So if you put it on to a piece of furniture, go over it with shellac. That will hold it together, and then you seal it with a polyurethane or wax or oil, something that keeps it from getting wet and then falling apart. So anyways, I got to keep working on this, and looking forward to having this in bulk. As long as I'm making the worst video in the history of videos, I will share what may or may not help you. If you're not much of a cook and you're not familiar with the technique of making your own pasta, what you want to do is you want to kind of make a volcano. And then you make a volcano out of flour, is what I should have said. And so what you do is you add an egg to the center, and then you kind of work the edges in, and then you get the really soft stuff in the middle. And then you pull away from the outside, and that keeps the water from running away. And also, when it splashes, it's splashing towards something that's still dry rather than trying to be out here pushing it around. This helps kind of keep everything going towards the middle. So there you go. Making, I don't know, it's definitely got a poopy look for the kids. I can feel the water smoothing it out, so it is starting to work its way and reactivate the mud. It's getting creamier out here. So I'm going to keep mixing it, and at some point all of it will smooth out on top, and I'll be able to, well, I won't have this stuff stuck to the edges like this. I'll be able to pull it in all the way around, and I put more water on it. Once I put the lid on, it'll soften up quite a ways down. It won't be so lumpy, which could be an advantage. I mean, if I'm filling some spaces, I'm actually going to want the slightly thicker stuff where there's veneer missing, but yeah, not as thick as it came right out of the can. So yeah, amazing stuff here. Okay, so 4 pounds Timbermate filler. How is it going? This is day 2 of being hydrated, and it's smoother. That's about where you want it. Still, it looks a little lumpy, but it's definitely more spreadable. So I am going to churn this up, and this will probably be the last episode of some of the worst videos I've probably ever made. Yeah, just so you know what's going on. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I think they tried to save money on shipping these things by keeping the weight down, by not adding the water, because you need a fair amount of water to get it this soft. So it really does look terrible. But it's going to be really good at filling in a lot of parts on dressers and other pieces of furniture that have chips or scratches, particularly since I plan on painting a lot of things in the near future. So you can take this and you can get it really wet, smear it, and then if you have a surface, you can take out fine scratches or texture. So with blonde MCM furniture, which has oak, if you can get most of the paint out of the pores, you can just do a big skim coat of this stuff, and I have a good feeling that with a big spreader, you're going to get a nice, clean, smooth finish for painting. This is still a little chunky on the sides. You can tell from the resistance, and you can see how it's kind of breaking off there, that it's still dry. So I'm going to give it another day. I don't know if anybody needs to see that, but I'm going to give it another day. I'm just going to put a bunch of water after I try to chop in some drainage holes, and try and get that water to just rehydrate at least half the bucket would be nice. So there you go. Just putting baby to bed here, and I'll push it back down and I'll say bye-bye. Okay, I can't resist it. Anyways, I was whipping this stuff where I was just kind of taking my putty knife, not a blender or anything complicated, but I was kind of swirling it to see if I could just get, you know, the lumpy parts that are hydrated and kind of soft, to get them to break up into the really creamy parts, and it did kind of help. And so it, you know, before I completely go away on this video, all these clips, you can see right here, it's still, it's not even lumpy, it's just solid. It's dry, and so it's not spreadable, and that's not good for a putty. But if you buy, again, there we go. This is the larger one, the 4 pound. There's other ones you can get. I get it from Woodcraft, my local guys. You get containers that are about, you know, like this big, and so much smaller than this. And they come, and the consistency is closer to this. do not worry if you buy this and it's the only purchase you make of Timbermate because you're expected to do a lot of filling and you've heard good things. Don't be afraid to put a bunch of water in there. So I did it yesterday. I'm going to do a bunch more. And so I'm actually going to grab some distilled water from under the sink here. I'll juggle the phone. And I'm just gonna load it up, and I'm gonna just let it sit in there and do its work and keep absorbing in. I might even put some of this over it to help cover it. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'll take the good stuff here and just let that rest, and then I'm going to stab it here a few times, like I said, just to let the water seep into more of the center of the container so I can at least get, you know, like half the layer going. And then I actually own this color already. It's the maple, pine, and beech tone, so your lighter, slightly yellow woods. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scrape off some of this and reload that little jar. I used a ton of it yesterday, and I was kind of surprised how fast I went through it just doing an entire dresser. But I'll be able to maybe use this as a reservoir, load up the little container, and just keep mixing this into a usable condition. So anyways, I'm going to put the lid on there and give it another day, see what happens.